There's two elements to that. There's two parts of the answer to that question. There's internal governance and there's external governance. Internal governance being the company. So I think this is a continuation of something that's happened over time. I've seen an evolution of Sri Lankan businesses, first from being unaware of what governance even meant, from a position in the board being a favor you do to a friend, to being one of responsibility. But that is continuing to evolve, and being a director is no longer, being a non-executive director, is no longer about just turning up at board meetings. It's about engaging with management on a much more frequency, building your credibility and rapport with the management, so that management then understands that all these processes, governance frameworks, protocols that we ask of them, and that sometimes or historically is seen as a burden, that management comes to understand that this is actually something that is really helpful and beneficial to them. And I think there's a big role that all directors, but especially the ones of us who are young and maybe don't have the baggage of 30 years of doing this and have the ability to look at things with a fresh set of eyes, there's a role that we need to play in building that rapport. Also, being somewhat younger, it's easier for us, we come across as being less intimidating to corporate management frequently. So to that extent also, it's somewhat easier for us to build that rapport with management and show them that all these frameworks are very important. The second part is something that us as directors need to do, is building that credibility involves working at it, being prepared for board discussions, reading the papers, knowing what the business is about. It's virtually impossible to build credibility without first showing competence, and building that rapport without showing competence and credibility. So I think those are two big elements that you should work on from an internal governance standpoint. External governance, I touched on this with some of my previous answers. There's a lot of thinking and there's a lot of, I would say, almost soul searching that us as boards and the corporate sector need to do in Sri Lanka. Thinking about, okay, how do we use our platform and our voice and our financial resources and our global connections to help people who are in need, help the ecosystem that we operate in. And then that is CSR evolves, and then CSR becomes more tactical in the face of this crisis. So how do we do that? Then how do we help our value chains, ensure business continues? Maybe this is more relevant to the previous question, paying suppliers in advance, even something that you need to do to help ensure that they survive. So I think there's a role for us to play as responsible corporate citizens to ensure that space that we operate in survives and thrives even in this trying environment. And finally, it's about using our platform and our voice for change in a gentle way, without, as I said, overstepping that mark, not turning us into political animals, but at the same time using it and not just sitting back idly when the country is going through all these changes.
Only thing that we can do is contribute to good governance, but I don't think that we are able to, or the corporate boards are able to make a huge difference, but definitely they can contribute, because enterprises or organizations create wealth in a country, and especially these organizations create economic value and employment. So it is very important how these organizations are governed and what is the structure, because it has a huge impact on the country and the industry as well. So when there's good governance structure in an organization, it is very unlikely that that kind of boards or organization will bribe and do anything that is unethical and irresponsible. So in that way, I believe that corporates can contribute to good governance in a country. Going beyond this framework, we can also look at whistleblowing. Probably, I think it is like the next step, but I guess this is how we can contribute to good governance in the organization. And also, I believe it is very important to bring up ethical leaders and appointing ethical directors in an organization, because boards exercise the stewardship. So there's a huge responsibility for shareholders to appoint the right boards, because Directors play a very, very important roles here.
I think it's a very important role they play, starting from you being a role model to your stakeholders. And hopefully that imprint that you leave with them will pay it forward so that when they, even outside the office, when they go about with their day-to-day living, they will practice that good governance initiatives that we inculcate as a board over in their private lives as well. So I think one of the major challenges the country faced was the lack of role models. So as a director, and especially in industries such as ours, where we have 20,000 to 100,000 people in one company, it's a great opportunity to use that company as a platform to spread good governance and just good ethics overall.
When it comes to a governance culture, I think at the company level, again, it comes down to the company's specific values. What are the values that your company believes in and it practices? Because in the end of the day, it's that purpose, it's that vision that will carry through in a situation like this. So in our specific case, I mean, we have lots of unique sort of values that we have within our company, and one of them is flexibility. So I think that has really helped us at this point. We're able to adjust, to adapt to the challenges and the situation that we are in. And also, in the end of the day, it's about we have communicated to our people that go exercise your right as a citizen to protest, to exercise your opinion, to voice your opinion, but stay away from violence. So this is the message that we as leaders have told our people. We have 1,500 people in our group. We're in 6 different sectors. So I think we have also supported our people right throughout this entire crisis at a time where it's uncertain if we can even do business in the next few months for some of the companies in terms of imports. But of course, we're lucky because we're diversified. We have export sector, and exports have of shipping services. And that's what's really helping us to, as a group, for all the subsidiaries to survive through this time. But what we've given, I mean, in terms of leadership, board leadership, and what we've communicated to our people is that, yes, you matter, and your loyalty, your dedication to keep things going through this crisis period is we value, and we will look after you. Even at this time, even things like remuneration decisions, increments, bonuses, those are, I mean, critical decisions at board level. And when there is uncertainty about growth levels in the economy and unprecedented levels of inflation, I mean, how can we make those decisions? But we've shown our people that yes, we will look after you. We will, go ahead with these increments, these bonus decisions, because you matter. And I think communicating that to your people is very important at this time, because they're the ones who will take your company through. And as leaders, I think we fostered that teamwork culture, very important again, and also taking responsibility and ownership for your decisions. We can't sit and wait around for new leaders or a new government to form. We have to get on with our day-to-day business. And that's the confidence and the stability we've given our people. All we can do is do our best at whatever we do and hope for the best for our country and the economy as well.